The uncomfortable reality. Most people imagine bullying as something that happens in schools, children mocking each other in hallways, teenagers pushing someone around. But what many people don't realize is that bullying never truly disappears. It simply evolves. It becomes more subtle, more professional, and far more difficult to expose. Because inside modern offices, bullying rarely looks like bullying. It doesn't always involve shouting. It doesn't always involve insults. Instead, it hides behind sarcasm, public criticism, silent exclusion, and small humiliations that slowly break someone's confidence. And the most disturbing part? Many employees experiencing this behavior don't even realize they're being bullied. They just feel something is wrong. They start doubting themselves. Their motivation disappears. Their stress increases. And eventually, they start asking a painful question. Why does going to work feel emotionally exhausting every day? In this video, we're going to uncover the hidden reality of bullying in offices. Because once you understand how it works, you'll start recognizing patterns that most people ignore. And those patterns explain why so many talented employees quietly lose their confidence at work. In movies, workplace conflict looks dramatic. Two people arguing loudly, a boss shouting at an employee. But real workplace bullying is far more subtle. It happens through small, repeated actions that slowly erode someone's sense of worth. For example, a manager constantly criticizing one employee in meetings while praising others, a colleague making sarcastic remarks disguised as jokes, a team intentionally excluding someone from important discussions. Individually, each action may seem small, but over time they create a toxic environment where one person feels targeted, isolated, and powerless. And because each incident seems minor on its own, it becomes extremely difficult to confront. This is how workplace bullying survives, not through obvious aggression, but through constant psychological pressure. Employees who experience bullying rarely react immediately. At first, they try to ignore it. They tell themselves they're being too sensitive. They assume the situation will improve. But something slowly begins to change inside them. Their confidence starts declining. They begin second-guessing their decisions. They hesitate before speaking in meetings. They avoid sharing ideas. Even simple tasks begin to feel stressful. The workplace, which should be a space for professional growth, becomes a source of daily anxiety. And perhaps the most damaging part of workplace bullying is not the behavior itself, it's the internal narrative it creates. Victims often start believing the problem is their fault. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I deserve this treatment. Maybe I'm the problem. And that belief is exactly what keeps bullying hidden, because when someone blames themselves, they stop challenging the system around them. Why bullying exists in offices. Many people assume bullying happens because of personality conflicts, but the truth is more complicated. Workplace bullying often emerges from power dynamics. In competitive environments, some individuals try to maintain control by undermining others. If a manager feels threatened by a talented employee, subtle bullying may become a way to protect their authority. If a coworker wants to stand out, they may quietly sabotage someone else's reputation. These behaviors are rarely obvious. They appear as small comments, strategic criticism, or intentional exclusion. But their goal is simple: shift the power balance. By making someone appear less competent, the bully strengthens their own position. The silent bystanders. Another reason workplace bullying continues is silence. When employees witness unfair treatment, they often hesitate to intervene, not because they agree with the behavior, but because they fear becoming the next target. So they remain quiet. They avoid involvement. They convince themselves it's not their responsibility. And that silence allows the bullying to continue. Over time, the toxic behavior becomes normalized. New employees enter the workplace and observe the same patterns. They quickly learn an unspoken rule: stay quiet if you want to survive here. And just like that, the culture protects the bully instead of the victim. Workplace bullies rarely present themselves as villains. In fact, many of them appear professional and charming. They know how to maintain a positive image with leadership. This creates another layer of confusion for the victim. When they try to explain what's happening, others may struggle to believe them because the bully behaves differently around different people. Common manipulation tactics include publicly praising someone while privately undermining them, assigning impossible tasks and later blaming the employee for failure, spreading subtle rumors about someone's competence, interrupting or dismissing ideas during meetings, gradually isolating the employee from important information. Each tactic alone might seem insignificant, but together they form a powerful psychological strategy, one designed to weaken someone's position without creating obvious evidence. Over time, workplace bullying begins affecting more than just performance. It affects identity. Many employees tie their self-worth to their professional abilities, so when those abilities are constantly questioned or dismissed, it becomes deeply personal. Stress levels increase, sleep becomes difficult, motivation disappears. Even outside the office, the emotional weight continues. Conversations with friends and family often revolve around work frustrations. Weekends no longer feel relaxing. Instead, they become preparation for another difficult week. This is why workplace bullying can become one of the most emotionally draining experiences in a person's career. It doesn't just damage productivity, it damages confidence. Why many employees stay in those environments? The answer often comes down to uncertainty. Employees worry about financial stability. They worry about explaining the situation to future employers. They worry that the problem might exist everywhere, so they convince themselves to endure. They hope things will improve. They tell themselves that perseverance will eventually lead to recognition. But in many cases, toxic environments rarely change without intervention, and waiting for improvement can lead to years of unnecessary stress. Recognizing the warning signs. Understanding workplace bullying begins with awareness. There are several warning signs that often appear in toxic environments. Consistent public criticism aimed at one employee, exclusion from meetings or information necessary for work, repeated undermining of ideas or achievements, unfair workload distribution, subtle intimidation disguised as humor. When these behaviors become patterns rather than isolated incidents, they signal a deeper issue within the workplace culture. Recognizing these patterns allows employees to stop internalizing the blame. Instead of thinking, something is wrong with me, they begin realizing something is wrong with the environment. And that shift in perspective is powerful because it restores clarity. Dealing with workplace bullying is never easy. Every situation is different, but awareness creates options. Employees can begin documenting incidents. They can seek support from trusted colleagues. They can communicate concerns professionally. And sometimes the most powerful decision is recognizing when an environment no longer deserves their energy. Leaving a toxic workplace is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of self-respect. Because no job is worth sacrificing mental health and dignity. Workplace bullying often survives because it remains hidden behind professionalism. It disguises itself as criticism, competition, or tough leadership. But when you look closely, the pattern becomes clear. One person's confidence is slowly being reduced so someone else can maintain control. Recognizing that reality is the first step toward protecting yourself, because once you understand these dynamics, you stop accepting them as normal. You begin questioning them.
And that awareness changes how you navigate your career, not with fear, but with clarity. If this video helped you understand the hidden dynamics of workplaces, subscribe to the channel. Here we uncover the psychology of office politics, toxic leadership, and the unspoken rules of professional life. Because success at work isn't only about working harder. Sometimes it's about understanding the systems most people never talk about. And once you understand them, you stop being controlled by them.